And we are officially live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of NXT Losos, your weekly NXT review show here on BC WrestlePod. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and joined with me this evening is the lovely Papa Oso. We are going to be reviewing this past Tuesday's episode, so Tuesday, August 19th edition of NXT, which was also the go-home show for Heatwave. And not only that, we're going to be doing our predictions for Heatwave, which is happening this Sunday, which is weird. There's so much wrestling happening this weekend, but that is okay because we're going to get through it all. But if you are new here to BC WrestlePop, before we jump into NXT proper, however you found this lovable little channel here on the internet, whether through a friend, the algorithm, or you just randomly happen to see this on the YouTubes, we appreciate you being here, which we love. And if you want to continue to see more, you can subscribe to our YouTube or follow us on Twitch and Kick, whatever your preferred streaming platform or video viewing platform. But we also understand that you cannot give us a full hour, hour and a half of your time for these reviews. So if you would like to stay more involved and connected, you can follow us on the social medias at BC WrestlePod, all over the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky. We have it all, and it is fantastic. And then, of course, if you want to rep us even further, we also have some merchandise available for you, which includes merch of all of our review teams, our Pride collection, our Anti-Fascism collection, and our limited Hot Boy Summer collection, as that will be going away August 31st to make room for the Fall collection. So I can't wait to get those designs out into the public because it's going to be a good time. Now, if you would like to know where you can get said merch, you can take a look in the chat, bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. Now, with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into it because we've got two things to do tonight. And surprisingly, this was a very self-contained episode of NXT. I was like, I didn't have to think too hard for it. A lot of it set up for Heatwave. We got some, final moments for people going to be in Heatwave. Got new matches made. And, we are also simultaneously having other things happen for other companies as well. We'll talk about that when we get into our main event of who was popping up in the crowd. So we'll get there when we get there. But let us begin. We kick things off this week on NXT with a Philadelphia street fight. So this is former best friends turned bitter enemies. Josh Briggs taking on Yoshiki. This match got a lot of time. I was like, this is like 17, 18 minutes. I was like, ooh, this is the first good chunk of everything. So we didn't even get a regular making entrances in. We had these two fight backstage, and then they came to the ring. I did get a little worried because when I saw that the ring was elevated from where the crowd was, I'm like, oh Lord, somebody's about to fall. And Inamura decided bet and jumped off that thing into Josh. I was like, oh no, don't do it. This match was wild. We had tables, we had chairs, we had all kendo sticks. Yoshiki Inamura literally martial arts palmed a kendo stick and broke it in half. I'm like, on the one hand, I really like this match. I did get taken out a little bit, and I thought Josh overdid the moonsault. I was like, oh God, he's not going to land on the table correctly. Thankfully, his long legs caught the table, so it was still fine. The other hand that makes me mad is like, we should have had this at Heatwave. But, we got to build stories up correctly. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. Papa, so what did you think of our Philadelphia street fight opening up the show? I don't think any sound is coming out because I was like, I see you mouthing words. I cannot hear the words. Anyways, while we get that fixed, yeah, there was a lot of moments. Going into the chair. The moonsault took me out a little bit. Jumping off the thing. So, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. All right, let's get back to it. What did you think?
Wow, I had all that. I said all of that, and I got to say it all again. I said that I thought this was pretty good. I really enjoyed this. I agree with you. I think it should probably have been at Heatwave, but I get it. I was a little worried about it at first, thinking, God, this is going to be a train wreck because, they set them up so well as sort of like bosom buddies. And then the turn happened so quickly, I feel. So I wasn't sure if this was going to be rushed. It was going to feel rushed, like, oh, we have to give them something so it really looks like they hate each other. But it was actually really good. I really did like the build in it. I loved all of the crap going on. I mean, you could really tell that they were trying to annihilate one another. And it was great. So I thought this started out the episode wonderfully. I loved it. I thought
It definitely was a fun way to start out. Again, this got some good time. And again, Josh Briggs picks up the victory over Yoshiki Inamura. So very interested to see where both individuals go moving forward past Heatwave. So yeah, hopefully good things for both of them because this was really solid. I enjoyed it. Moving on though, backstage really quickly, we have Sarah Schreiber, one of our backstage correspondents, interviewing Trick Williams. And Trick is telling us that he is going to beat Javon and it would be the one to face Obafemi at Heatwave. We're going to put a pin in that because, spoiler alert, did not happen for Trick. But Trick's ego is still getting the best of him. And we're going to talk about in the main event how I loved how that came to fruition. But we'll come to there when we get to it. Because right now, we got to talk about Ricky Saints versus Jasper Troy Part 2. Better than their first encounter because we didn't have the stage falling apart before the spot was happening. Both of these two took some brutal spots. Ricky getting thrown places. When Jasper went to do a back body drop on the stairs and Ricky got out the way, so it was just Jasper flat on back on top of steel stairs. I'm like, somebody go see this, give this man a chiropractor's number. I was like, Lord, that was nasty sounding. Again, I wasn't too hyped for this match because I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Their first encounter wasn't necessarily my favorite. Dare I say, I was like, you know what? Ricky wins. Jasper still looked pretty good in this match. Hopefully this means that Ricky gonna be doing something else now. We can separate these two for a hot minute. Like, don't let them fight again for a while. So, yeah. Papa Oso, what did you think of Ricky Saints versus Jasper Troy?
it wasn't a bad match, and you're right, it was better than their first one. But I'm kind of over this already. I don't get it. I don't understand this rival, or I don't even think it's a rivalry. Really, it's just a beef. Like, I got beef with you for some random ass reason, and it's coming across as, and I actually like Troy, but he's coming across as like the angry black man character. Like, everybody just pisses him off, and I'm like, okay, all right, you want to fight everybody? Okay, I guess.
We kind of touched upon it last week too, because the promo that we got from Jasper was very meathead, angry at popular person. Like, I was like, what is this, high school? Anyways, continue.
Yeah, no, I agree, and this whatever this is came out of nowhere. I mean, he slammed Ricky in the backstage at one point. So then all of a sudden it's a thing. And I'm like, why is this a thing? What are they doing with Jasper? I don't understand what. Again, to me, he still feels like Obafemi 2.0. I'm like, I need you to do something different. We've already had this. I need something new. I really do. And it's not working for me. And which is unfortunate because I think he's pretty good. I mean, he's obviously green and needs a lot more experience in the ring, but I think he could be really good, but I'm just not on board with this, whatever this is. I don't know what this is. And I think it was and honestly and truly, and this is going to probably be a hot take or whatever, I don't know what you want to call it, but I think it was a waste of time for Ricky.
Yeah.
I think this is a total waste of time.
I feel like we've been saying this a lot of Ricky ever since he lost the North American Championship back to All Ego. And then we went through the feud again with him in All Ego. Now he's feuding with Jasper. I'm hoping that now that we're done with this, hopefully that means that Jasper and Ricky can go separate ways for a little bit. And I want Ricky to, and spoiler alert, we might be getting something with Ricky and Josh with Briggs, which, you know what, I'm here for. It's
okay,
a fresh feud for both of them, especially, because Ricky making his entrance, Briggs going through and kind of ruining the entrance for Ricky. And then later on, Ricky talking to Miles about Josh and all of that later. We're gonna talk about Miles because Miles was hate crime this episode. I was just like, but you know what? I was just like, King, I cannot stand you. But honestly, this is kind of the direction I'm hoping for because it's something. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But again, Ricky Saints beats Jasper Troy. I want these two to move on from each other for a little bit. And hopefully, again, leading into, spoiler alert, after Heatwave, we are getting No Mercy in September for NXT. So hopefully we build more feuds for No Mercy and things like that. But we move on from this match. We get into, again, we actually have graphics for segments. I want to preface by saying this, right? So we see Jordan cut promos in TNA. And you know what? Like, they were cool and I liked them. Jordan was pretty decent on the mic in TNA. Again, this segment was really solid from both Jordan and from Blake. Again, the only big problem I have with this is like, how come one of the doesn't have the championship and this is for the NXT Women's Championship? because this is like a championship worth story for me. And this is giving me performances from people who want to be champion and things like that. But there's no title involved in this. So I was like, this is the best feud that NXT has right now, which is saying something because we have Miss Double Champ JC Jane, and she's struggling to keep up with NXT and TNA, but we'll get to her in a little bit. So Jordan comes down to the ring first for this particular segment. You know, without mentioning the word TNA, she talks about how her wrestling experiences have gotten to this point. And you know what? She is here and she admits, you know what? When I got here, you know what? I thought I was ready. I thought I was going to do these great things. And when I got here and I realized how it was, it's like, wow, I have some work to do. But you know what? I'm going to take it on the chin and I'm going to get there. And you know what? I'm going to prove Blake wrong. So Blake comes out and interrupts. She has a whole squad of security guards, and she tells Jordan that there's a contract stating that if Jordan touches Blake, then their match for Heatwave is off. So Jordan cannot beat up Blake Monroe until Sunday when their match is happening at Heatwave. So Jordan does the most best thing. And she's like, you're right, Blake. I can't touch you, but I'm going to give you a preview. She beats up almost all the security guards. She scares one of them to the back. He ran, which was the smartest thing he could have did. And then because Jordan dropped her mic, she grabbed Blake's wrist, still holding onto the mic, twisted it, grabbed the mic herself. Is just like, you know what, Blake? I was like, I'm going to show you what ugly is this Sunday at Heatwave. And then I was like, tens across the board. This was the best segment, the promo segment of the whole entire night for me. And dare I say, probably my favorite part of NXT outside of match-wise. Again, there is no championship in here, but this is probably the feud that I'm the most excited about going into Heatwave. I mean, but also, what did you think about this segment and the overall story we've been getting with these two?
I love this story. And of course, you know, I'm a big Jordan Grace fan. Love her. When she gets in the ring and they put a mic in her hand, I'm like, okay, girl, do it. And she did it again. And it's so, and you know, the thing I love about her is she can talk shit, but in the nicest way possible. And I love that she doesn't let Blake get to her, which I thought was so wonderful, which Blake was trying to do so hard and like was really trying to push her buttons so that she would lay a hand on her. And I love what this is they're building with these two. I love it. I love this sort of like nemesis, you know. It's like even like if one of them was to go somewhere else, they would still be like, I need to get to her, or this, that, you know, this, that, and the other. I love this so much, and it's so great because Blake, the character that Blake is creating, is such a manipulative, sort of charismatic. You know, because you can't help but love her. But then it's like, girl, you're gaslighting me. What are you doing? It's like, I love you, but I feel like you're manipulating me a little bit. And I think that's fantastic. And Jordan's that sort of like rock. It's like immovable. It's like, you can try all the manipulation you want, girl. It ain't going to work on me. I'm immune to your BS. And the more she does that, the harder Blake goes. And I just love how they feed off of each other. It's wonderful. I absolutely love it. I thought both of them did amazing in this promo. And this does. And what's so funny is, see, folks out there, this is what a good promo gets you super excited for this right here. I am more excited for this than anything else. I mean, at this point, I'm not even with the whole, you know, what the number one contender in Obafemi. This has me more excited than that does.
And again, this is not for any type of championship. These are just two girls who are having a program to fight. And I was like, I need the main roster to take notes because main roster is struggling to book feuds outside of championships. And NXT out here showing that. I was like, get it together. So I'm really excited to see these two collide at Heatwave this Sunday. So when we get to predictions, I still don't know who I'm going to go with in this one because I'm like, but I will say this. I think I will be happy either way because I think both of them have done such a phenomenal job. But we'll get there because I'm still going back and forth with it. But we got to go. We got to move on, though, because after this segment, really quickly, again, we have Fatal Influence getting ready for their match coming up very shortly. And then they have a run-in with Zaruka. So Zarya and Sol Ruka, that, you know, she's not defending her championship all the time. I was like, but she just defended it against Tatum like 2 weeks ago. Or did we not And anyway, I was like, do we not remember? But Sol Ruka's like, hey, I have a plan. And I was just like, ooh, girl, if that means we will see you defend championships more on TV, please, because your match against Tatum Paxley was so good. Both of them did so good in that match like 2 weeks ago. And you know what? Zarya going after these girls, Sol Ruka going after these girls. I'm here for it all. So very fun run-in. Which then leads into this was okay. When you want to talk about a cluster F, right? So this was a 6-woman tag team match. On one side, we have NXT's Fatal Influence of JCJ, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix taking on TNA's The Elegance brand. So Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and M by Elegance. And then our special guest referee for this match is TNA Knockouts Masha Slamovich. I'm not going to lie. As soon as we heard that Masha was going to be ref, I'm just like, oh God, this is going to be chaotic. These, we know that JC, Masha, and Ash are fighting at Heatwave for the TNA Knockouts Championship. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Like, what's about to go down? You know what? Dare I say, I actually really proud of Masha for actually calling it down the middle the whole entire match. I was like, she was fair because she threw out George Iceman, the concierge. She got after the Fatal Influence girls for cheating, and she called it right down the middle, which saw the Fatal Influence girls pick it up after some distraction. And then we get a little bit of a shoving match between Masha and Ash. So I'm like, girls, your target is JC. Point that anger to her and grab that title back for TNA, which I don't think is happening at Heatwave, but I digress. Also, this is all the women. We got lots of women in this match and lots of women's action. What did you think of Fatal Influence versus the Elegance brand?
I really enjoyed the match, mainly because Masha was so fun to watch. And watching the match at times, it felt a little cartoonish. And like JC, Fatal Influence, it was like, yeah, so I don't know. I enjoyed it because I like, everybody in there. Even I don't dislike the wrestlers. I think, they're good at what they do and that thing. I just don't like Fatal Influence just because, characters wise. But I thought they were good. There were moments where I literally was laughing because it felt so, literally, and it's not gonna sound bad necessarily, but it reminded me of like 1980s comedy. Like Benny Hill is the perfect example, but it's like where the ladies are like, ooh, look at me, look at my boobs go, and it's like very, very sexist. It felt very like,
it's very pointed in terms of like what's being accentuated and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it was just weird to me. And I was just like, what is happening? Right. So I found myself laughing a few times, and it wasn't because it was bad. It was literally just because moments happened that I was like, it
was like we were watching an NXT version of a Looney Tunes cartoon.
It really was. I was like the Animaniacs going on out there. And I don't know. I didn't hate it at all because anytime we get to get the women on our screen is a win for us. And when I say us, I don't mean us men, but as, wrestling fans. Right. Because any chance. And even in the fun, silly moments, we need them. So, but I think that this will be, and I agree with you. I don't think JC's losing anything anytime soon.
I still think that Trick and JC will probably lose their titles at Bound for Glory. But
I think so too.
So, but we have we can talk about that over on Friday with TNA when we do Emergence and where we think we're heading for Victory Road and Bound for Glory. But again, JC, Ash, and Masha have a date at Heatwave against each other in that triple threat. So stay tuned for our review this upcoming Wednesday of Heatwave to see how that goes. Yep. But moving on from here, we get backstage. Can I just say, I think the person I'm the most proud of here in this whole segment was Ren Sinclair here, because not only does she put Charlie in his place a little bit, but she's playing it smart. She's like, Charlie, it is 2-on-4. We are at a numbers disadvantage. Why are you poking the bear? So, but it seems that we might be getting Ren going up against Izzy and Tatum in some capacity, which would be good. And you know what? I was wondering where we were going with, no quarter catch crew. Now it's just down to 2 members instead of the 4. So we shall see where this goes. I still hate the name but I really hope this allows the women, for Tatum, for Izzy, and for Ren to be able to do some stuff too. Again, building feuds and storylines that don't necessarily need championships. Look at NXT go. We love it. So moving on from here though. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the match itself with the Elegance girls and, you know, Fatal Influence being cartoony. This was the Looney Tunes segment for this because, okay, so let me put this way. I feel that everybody, actually, I feel like everybody minus Chelsea Green was overacting here, and it kind of took me out a little bit. I was just like, listen, Chelsea, I love you, but 3 out of the 4 members of this whole segment overdid it with their line delivery and everything. I was just like, I don't want to use the word ghetto but like Avion and Zara May Steele, I was like, ooh, we gotta rein it back, girls, rein it back. And then Ethan just being Ethan. Chelsea was the only one that had the sense of be like, okay, we're going to do this, but I'm not going to overdo it. Chelsea was the only person to kind of keep it together. And then it just evolved into a whole entire brawl, which, you know, we made a mixed tag team match for Heatwave, which actually I am excited about. Team Canada, which is Ethan and Chelsea Green, versus Team USA, which is our, you know, our wrestlers and Olympic wrestlers and Tavion and Zara May Steeles. I'm not the theater person, so I'm only giving my perspective, but Papo Osa, I want you to help me break this down because I felt like everybody just did too much in this segment.
They did. Yeah, they did. And it because, you know, anything Ethan Page is involved in tends to go this way because he has, I think Ethan Page has moved away from being called all ego because I don't think it's that anymore. I think he's like all like cheap because everything he does now is like super cheesy, not egotistical at all in the way that we would think of as egotistical,
right?
But more like
it's very like mustache twirling type of.
It's very melodramatic.
Energy.
It's very melodrama. Yeah, he is definitely he's our Snidely Whiplash of this story. And I'm just I've got you where I want you. And the others sort of play into it, which, you know, I will give credit to Ethan Page in that aspect, in the fact that he dishes out this sort of, you know, melodrama villain, and everyone just sort of goes with it. Like they really kind of feed off of it, which is very acting 101. It's very reaction. You know, it's not necessarily action, it's reacting. And everyone reacts to him exactly the way that he wants them to. And this segment was no different. You know, he was the Snidely Whiplash, and in this instance, Tavion would be our sort of Dudley Do-Right. And unfortunately, ladies, you are the sidekick animal friends, because Ethan has his Muttley and Tavion has his, and I can't remember Dudley's horse's name, darn it. But it's that sort of, not that she looks like a horse, but that's what they have. They both have their sort of animal companions that are very much like support them. Like they're like, yes, you're doing just what you need to do. But this was a total melodrama. This was total. All it needed was someone in the background playing a piano.
Honestly. And again, I'm excited that we're getting this mixed tag team at Heatwave because I think the match itself is going to be fun. It's just that this segment was team too much for me. I was just like, all right, y'all. What I do hope, though, is whether it's Tara pinning Chelsea, but what I would love to see if Tavion pinning Ethan, which would allow Tavion and Ethan to feud for the title. I think this would be a good chance to finally allow Tavion to see if he has the chops to potentially carry a championship and to go into a championship feud with somebody. So we shall see what happens, but we got to move on from this though. Again, we kind of hinted at this earlier. This was a hate crime, and I'm not here for the hate crimes, and Lexis King's beard still bothers me. But dare I say, NXT, this is a step in the right direction for me because now you're giving something more defined to Lexis. So we initially start off with Ricky and Miles talking about Josh Briggs, how Ricky is going to go after Briggs. And then Lexis walks into the picture and Ricky's like, I'm going to let you handle this. I'm going to go figure something else out. So Lexis comes in and he's like, I already know. So it's like, I don't care. Your apologies mean nothing to me. But he comes in and he apologizes to Miles, you know, because the whole entire feud that we had with these two is Lexis did not believe that Miles was partially deaf. And so Lexis, you know, apologized. He said, you know what? I projected a lot of things on you. I was being unfair. I was like, I don't believe this, but I'm intrigued. Keep going. And then Lexis hits him with the you know what? It must be so hard because you are blind and you are deaf and blind. And Miles is like, Lexus, I am deaf, but I'm not blind. And then this man commits a whole aggravated assault by Pepper Miles in the face. I was like, what? I'm not gonna lie, I was so caught off guard. I'm like, oh my god, we pretend to mace to someone on TV screen. Holy crap. But you know what? I'm intrigued, NXT. Now you got me like, okay, this is something that Lexus has a direction to go with. Color me intrigued. And you know what? Miles being on my screen to whoop Lexus's butt down the road, I'm here for it all. So I was just like, this is weird, but I'm kind of here for it, question mark. I was like, I don't know what that says about me about as a person, but I feel like we're finally getting some direction with Lexus of where he goes. It's like, let him just be a turd like this, and I'm kind of here for it. Papa, also, what did you think of this aggravated assault that happened on our screen?
Well, you know, I hate that happened. I thought, really, come on. Hit him in the leg with a pipe or something. Why do we have to go that route? I guess. But the true hate crime in this entire thing is that freaking beard. Look at it. It is literally spray painted on his face. Do not even, if anyone out there ever says to me, no, they probably just like mat it down and paint it. So no, that is like literally someone took paint, just spray painted it on there. It's the one way too straight.
Be like, you can't tell me otherwise.
No, you can't. I'm sorry. But I thought this segment was pretty good. I thought it got a little cheesy there at the end when he sprayed him in the eyes. When he's like, what do you think? I'm not blind. And I was like, really? You set up your own thing? It's like, come on. And I do like this. If this is the route they're going with him, I do like it. But I mean, if they're gonna make him like the Riddler, I'm not here for that.
It's giving me Jack Nicholson Joker.
Yeah, it really is. And that's what I really meant was the Joker. But I don't know. I hope so. I hope they make him sort of psychotic and crazy. That would be awesome.
Right, because we've had various forms of Jokers, but I would be here for an NXT version of Jack Nicholson Joker.
I would too. And I thought it was good. I thought it was fun, but I did think, I was like, did we really just mace our disabled guy? I mean,
I was like, this is an ableist crime.
I was like, this is the new Lexus King, and I'm absolutely here for it because, you know, that's why I love the Rascals, the original Rascals so much, is because and I will always talk about is the spray paint. When they would spray paint people in the face, I'm like, that is a bad guy, guys. You want the people who pull out of their socks and you know hit you with a sock full of oranges, that sort of thing. I really love this. If this is where they're going with it, I'm here for it.
I am too, and this is going to be a lot of fun to do, so I'm excited to see where we go. So moving on from this, though, we get another backstage segment. So we initially see Kalani and Lola talking about, the upcoming triple threat number one contenders match at Heatwave that they have with Jada. And then Lash Legend with the hair down, like long hair, don't care, love it. She comes in and you know what? She's like, why is Jada in this match? I was like, kind of think about it. You know what? You're kind of right. Lash is letting them know it doesn't matter who becomes number one contenders because she got next. And Kalani and Lola are like, girl, you got beat by Nia Jax last week. And I was like, yeah, but she was awesome in that match, you guys. Like, let's not get it twisted. So again, we got our number one contenders triple threat before the NXT Women's Championship at Heatwave. Lash is waiting in the wings. Cannot wait to see more development with all of this. Then Joe Hendry is popping out of closets left and right. I was like, we know, Joe, we know. Okay, so the last couple of weeks, we have kind of been playing one of our members of Dark State, like saying some very questionable and sus things about, going to behind, taking out that ass. And I was just like, hold the phone. Yeah. I was like, so
this was totally gay.
I mean, you said it, not me, but I can say it too. I was just like, this is the most homoerotic thing on NXT that we saw this week. Literally, Joe Hendry in a blue satin shirt coming out the closet.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
I want us to get behind you. I was like, and he's like a total meathead. And it's like, so anything he says that's sort of like aggressive sounds sexual, which is where the humor lies in it. But it's like, this was just weird. I mean, it was like, he even, and the thing about it is he even whispered it to him. That's what was so creepy about it. He's like, I was like,
no, ma'am.
I was like,
again, I'm like, I need an adult. No, ma'am.
It's so weird.
the other members of Dark State are over it too, which is hilarious to watch.
like,
I was
"Come
just
on."
like, they're like, really, dude, whatever. So we still won't know which two members of Dark State will be facing Hank and Tank until Heat Wave. So more on that on Sunday. But it is main event time, where this is our number one contenders match for the NXT Championship. Winner goes to face Oba Femi for at Heat Wave. When we get into predictions, I'm gonna wait until here, but I just thought Javon died twice. I was just like, he overshot twice, and I was like, oh gosh, I think I just witnessed murder on my television screen.
Well, that the one that really got me was the one that Trick caught him on the top rope and pushed him out onto the table, whatever. That scared the absolute bejesus out of me, because he missed that table. I mean, I was just like, what is, oh my God. So yeah, that was my worst. The other one was I was like, ooh. But that one, I was like, oh my God. So, y'all, watch your spots, man. Watch your spots.
Right. The crazy thing in this match, too, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because I've been kind of the biggest Trick Williams, like, hater, right, recently. Not because of him, but I was just like, this is kind of getting there, but we need to figure it out. Maybe I'm wrong. This is the most vicious I've seen Trick in any match recently. It was a lot more slower paced. I was just like, I don't know if I like it quite yet, but I'm starting to see glimpses of that development. I'm hoping that Trick can pull through. I was just like, you know what? We don't need you to be egotistical. Just be brutal. Just be a brutalizer. Just like wreck your opponent.
Yeah.
I was like,
and not care,
not care. Like, because when we got those sections of the match where he just continued to beat up on Javon, even after the ref was trying to pull him away, he's like, no, I don't care. I'm just gonna put this kid into the ground because he talks
your
too
ass.
much.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, this is the Trick Williams I'm kind of here for. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Did this match feel like it was in slow motion?
No, I 100% agree with you, because there were spots in this where I turned away and I was just like, why is like nothing happening? I don't hear anything. I don't see people doing anything.
I mean, and even I'm just when they were coming into in movements, I mean, it literally felt like I've stepped to my mark. Okay, now let's grab each other. I mean, it felt almost like stage combat, in the idea that you got to hit your mark before you can make contact. And that's literally what it felt like through the whole match. And I was just like, what is this? It kind of took me out of it at times, because I was like, wait. And at first I thought, oh, well, maybe they're getting tired. And so they're sort of like spot checking before they do, and maybe, I don't know. Cause even with the sort of mistakes that were made, I was just like, what's going on? Something's going on here. And I don't know what
it definitely carried a weird energy going through the match. And then, when we get to the end though, the ending also felt kind of weird too. But we get to the tail end of the match. Trick Williams technically has Javon dead to rights, but Trick looks up into the crowd like he's been doing the whole match, and then we see the Boricua badass himself, Mike Santana, was up in the balcony. The crowd was cheering, which was enough of a distraction, because Trick's like, hold up, what he doing here to allow Javon to hit what he needed to win? And so your winner and moving to Heat Wave to face Obafemi is Javon Evans. And then, of course, because we went over time, they had to immediately cut the feed right there. So thanks to a Mike Santana distraction in the audience, Javon ends up picking the victory. And I was like, okay, I kind of figured that, Trick wasn't going to win, because we still have him feuding with folks over in TNA right now as our TNA champion. But Javon will be facing Oba once again at Heat Wave. So this will be Javon's second time fighting for the NXT Championship at Heat Wave, because last year, remember, Javon was a part of that Fatal 4-Way with him, Sean Spears, Trick Williams, and All Ego Ethan Page last year in that Fatal 4-Way. So hopefully, and when we talk about it right now in predictions, Javon has a different result. So overall, the NXT show was actually pretty solid. I felt like there wasn't stuff that really wasted my time. There were some performance issues in terms of like promo stuff that was over the topness when it comes to certain things. But overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. But let's get into what we need to do before we sign off. And that is, let us do this. So if you are new here to BC Wrestle Pod, anytime that we do a go home show review, we also do predictions for the pay-per-view. So Heat Wave is this Sunday, which is also going on at the same time. Well, it's happening in the evening, But it's on the same day as AEW's Forbidden Door. So once again, WWE and NXT are trying to counter program these programs, which is weird. But we got 6 matches officially made for Heatwave. So let's go through them. These matches are in no particular order, but I like to order them from non-title matches first to mid-cards and tag champs, and then to our singles bouts. So first up, we have our triple threat number 1 contenders match. This is a match that is going to see Jada Parker, Lola Vice, and Kalani Jordan fight in this triple threat. The winner gets a number 1 contendership to the NXT Women's Championship soon, whether it's on TV or at the next pay-per-view at No Mercy. But one of these 3 girls have it. And I'm kind of excited because, again, these 3 have kind of been in the contention for NXT Women's Championship. But I feel like this is the first opportunity. It's just like, we really haven't seen them get to push up to the main card that much. And I think one of these girls is about to. This one's a tough one for me because I could make a case for all 3. But I had to think about it, and I thought about this all day. I was like, I still don't know who I would pick. But after thinking about so far how each of these 3 girls' year has gone and who I think would be fun as a number 1 contender, because that is what I ended up going with, I think I'm going to go with Lola. I think Lola, for me, is my pick to be number 1 contender, which is really hard because I can make a case for all of them, but something tells me, and I'm a back Lola up on this one. Papa, also, who you got walking away as number 1 contender?
I was the same way. This one was hard. I thought, I was thinking about it. I was like, who? All 3, any of them could. I didn't go with Lola only because she was just brought into this. So I thought, well, maybe this is more of a let's get her back into the mix type of thing, But even though I could totally see her doing it, I could see her taking it. But I think this is now that would be great though. It would be great in the fact that, you've got Jada and Kalani who are sort of at each other. And then you have Lola, who is sort of there and just sort of steps in and takes it from them, which would be quite wonderful if that was the route they were going. But I was just like, I don't know. And I was just like, well, where do I go with this one? So I just went with my girl. I went with Kalani, and probably won't be the one that wins it. And that's okay, because any of these women win it, I'm good with it. I am too. This was hard. This one was very difficult. So I just went with Kalani because I love all 3 of them, but I love Kalani. I really want to see Kalani do something big and
get pushed up to the main card scene.
I really do.
So I'm excited to see this. So I think this is going to be a fun match, and we'll see who walks out as the winner. So next up, we have our mixed tag team match. This is Team Canada versus Team USA, as I dubbed it. So on the Team Canada side, we have our NXT North American champion, All Ego Ethan Page, teaming up with, La Presidenta herself and Chelsea Green. I love Chelsea's ring gear in this picture. It's so over the top. I love it. It's so good. Also, shout out to Chelsea for being the biggest ally on the planet and putting haters and, is anybody who is of the isms like racism, homophobia, put them in their place. So that's Team Canada. And then, of course, Team USA, we have Tavion Heights and Tara May Steele. This one was easy for me because I'm hoping this means that if Team USA wins, especially for Tavion, this leads to a program with Ethan for the title. So I went with Team USA on this one. I hope that Tavion and Tara walk out, because then it would allow Tavion and Tara to do something with, these 2, especially Tavion with Ethan. So I'm going with Team USA on this one.
I went with Team USA.
Easy enough.
To me, it just feels right. Plus, it's in Massachusetts.
That's very true. Be like, come on, y'all. We can't have the black folks be losing either. I'm just saying. No. I was just like, come on now. But you know what? I'm expecting this match to thoroughly entertain me, and I'm here for it. So, all right, let's get into it. Okay, when you want to talk about 50-50, I still do not know which way the dice is going to roll. Again, as we said during the review portion, this is probably the strongest story going into Heatwave, and probably the one that I'm most hyped for story-wise and in-ring wise, because both of these 2 are not here in NXT to learn how to wrestle. These 2 have made a name in other companies and have fought the best of the best along the way. Jordan coming from TNA and all the women that she's faced over there, from the likes of Masha Slamovich, Trinity, Deanna Perazzo, Mickey James, and then looking at Mariah Blake Monroe, formerly known as Mariah May, going in Stardom and fighting the likes of Megan Bayne and Hikaru Shida and Mina Shirakawa. And then, of course, entering the biggest women's feud in the most recent history, her versus Timeless Toni Storm in AEW. So these two are no slouches when it comes to wrestling. And I don't know if it ended up on the same for us, but based on everything that we've gotten so far, and I'm just trying to think what would NXT do, I have Jordan walking out the winner for this one.
I got Jordan as well.
All right. But again, I can make the case for Blake winning too.
I could do.
But I will say this. I do not think this feud is over after Heatwave.
No.
I think it keeps going, and I think we get another match at No Mercy.
Yep.
Give me another Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton, like, crazy stipulation match because they hate each other so much.
Yeah. Because and the reason, and here, I guess I could justify a little bit of my choice. Well, I literally did flip a coin and Jordan, but because Blake came out on top in the last sort of encounter, I really think Jordan's going to come out on this one, and then I think we're going to get No Mercy, the really big one, whatever that's going to be. I think that's going to happen at No Mercy. So I think this is going to be a 1-1, and then let's see who wins the big one.
Honestly, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
again, I'm really hyped for this match, so we shall see what happens with this one. Next up, we get into the championship matches. This is for the NXT Tag Team Championship matches. This is Hank and Tank taking on two members of Dark State. Just out of absolute no, I am picking Hank and Tank to retain. I was just like, don't take them off the boys, please. I need my LeChonks to hold on to it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think they're going to hang on. I went with Hank and Tank as well, because I think they're going to hang on to these till, I think, if at least No Mercy. But I think personally they could go all the way to Bound for Glory with them.
And we could see some of the NXT titles be defended on TNA at this point, because we're having our TNA Knockouts championships defended here. So who knows?
I would love to see that.
Hank and Tank and
they're
TNA.
Gonna. I think that because Hank and Tank are great. They are great.
Yep.
They are a great representation for your tag team champions. They're so charismatic and fun. They're not afraid to be silly and stupid, and yet they can be just as serious when they need to be. And I literally don't think they're going to lose this at Heatwave for sure. If they were going to lose them, they would lose them at No Mercy. But I don't think they're going to lose them there neither, because right now there's no real legitimate threat to them. Because originally I would have thought Briggs and Inamura would have been a threat, but now they're, Splitsville. So I don't think at this point we have anyone. Now I may be wrong, but I don't think we have anyone that's legitimately in a good place to defeat them.
Right. And so, we both say that they're retaining, but who knows? NXT might have something
That's
different.
True.
We'll see what happens at Heatwave.
Yeah.
So, but for right now, both Will and Papa Oso and I have Hank and Tank.
Yep.
TNA Knockouts Championship Triple Threat. This one was easy for me, unfortunately, because I have JC retaining. And to take it a step further, I think Ash, unfortunately, is going to get pinned in this, which makes a lot of sense because I still think we get JC and Masha's rematch at Bound for Glory. And Ash is a Knockouts Tag Team Champion. So, any of the members of House of the Elegance brand can defend those two Knockout Tag Team Championships. So I got JC retaining because I'm thinking we're setting up Masha and JC's rematch at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but I'm still excited. I think this is going to be a really fun match between these three. I was like, can't wait. So finally, what's probably main eventing the show, and I swear to God, NXT, please do the right thing. I don't care if I lose a point here for the NXT Championship. We have Oba Femi versus Jav Evans. Again, I think that Javon will be NXT champion by the end of 2025, so he will be champ going into the new year. I'm calling my shot right now. I'm hoping and I'm praying and I'm going. I don't care if I lose a point here. I'm going with Javon to be the winner of this match. Give this kid the title. Because Javon is the last line of defense Oba has to go through. Javon is the last person left because Oba has beaten everybody else. Some people twice. So I was just like, let the Mr. Bouncy walk away with the title. So I got Javon, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah. Do you really think they'll take the title from Oba at Heatwave?
I don't know. I honestly, there's a part of me that's like, probably not, but I don't care.
I went with Javon Evans as well because anytime Javon Evans is up for something, I'm going to go with him. But I'm just like, see, because I would think that Heat Wave isn't big enough
That's fair.
for this type of champion switch over. I mean, that doesn't mean it won't happen, but I mean, I would think like for something like this, I would think you'd want to put it at a big pay-per-view.
Right. The only downside with NXT is that their big pay-per-view is always stand and deliver, and they only have like that one.
That's true.
And then they have these smaller pay-per-views throughout the year. So now I will say if Javon doesn't win here, but we get a rematch, then I think in my opinion, the second biggest NXT pay-per-view for me is always No Mercy. So I can also see if Javon not winning it here. And if they want to run this back again, we can see at No Mercy taking it. So
see, that's what I would think. I would think that they would do this at No Mercy. I mean, like again, I'm going with Javon because I love me some Javon Evans, but I feel that I can't imagine. I mean, again, that's just me thinking. Well, Heat Wave is just not. Sorry, I'm going to say it out loud. Is not important enough for your NXT champion to lose his title at. I think it's like losing it in the back alley of the Piggly Wiggly. And I mean, again, it could happen because, anything could happen. But I just feel that No Mercy would be a more appropriate place for Oba to lose his title. Because, I mean, that's Javon. If Javon wins at Heat Wave, then he would have to go into No Mercy as the champion.
Right.
And I see that he's not ready for that. But I just think that
it would put Javon in a very tight spot.
In a really weird place. So that's why if he could take it from him at No Mercy, that puts him at the top. Because if he wins it here, he's coming in under the top. He would go into No Mercy in a very weak position.
That's very fair.
You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm still going with Javon, but it's like because I really want him to win.
Payoff wise, it would be such a more cooler moment for him to lose here, get a rematch at No Mercy again, do some sort of stipulation, because you also have to think about how we're going to protect Oba in here too, because Oba's been so dominant. So it has to be some sort of crazy stipulation if Oba's going to lose, because then you can say, oh, he didn't lose in a straight one-on-one. So but we have locked in our predictions. I'm going to click send for this form to lock it in. And that is officially our predictions for Heat Wave. Heat Wave is this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern? No, 4 p.m. Yeah, 4 p.m. at in one of the zones, whatever it is. But listen, it's all right. This weekend I was like, I love it, but I'm mad at companies because I was like, y'all had to cram in this last weekend of August with all of your end of the summer shows. It's crazy.
It's 4 Pacific.
Okay.
7 Eastern because it's at 6 o'clock my time.
Gotcha. So Heat Wave goes on at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I will be watching it later because Sunday I have Forbidden Door and Andrew and I have GCW Homecoming Night 2. Sure, yeah. But that's going to be it for us for here at NXT Losos. I'm not going to spend too much time on wrapping us up because Will has some other things he needs to do before potentially seeing him a little bit later. But really quickly to kind of give you a preview of what the remainder of this week looks like. So later on tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Central. No, 10 p.m. Central. Just kidding. CMLL action will be here. It will be me and Will, and I will get into that at the beginning because it will just be us two for the next month, which is very, sad face, but there's a good reason why. But it is okay, so come back later tonight to see it. Then on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Central is our TNA Emergence review. I'm gonna be so for real. The four of us are gonna be talking the most amount of shit that whole entire episode because Emergence was so not good, you guys. Like, besides technical issues, just like matches that didn't need to be there, outcomes that were questionable. Like, it was buck wild. So, and we find ourselves in this weird, like, towards the tail end of this year for TNA. I was just like, no, it's still going to be a fun review because we're going to talk the most amount of crap. It's going to be funny. Then this weekend is nonstop jam-packed watch-along action. So Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central. Andrew and I will be here for GCW Homecoming Night 1. And then Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific is our AEW Forbidden Door watch-along. And then later that afternoon is night 2 of GCW Homecoming. There's a lot of good stuff happening. And then they just announced like 4 more pay-per-views happening later in the fall. It's just like, well, at least we'll stay in business, I guess. But I digress. But me and Papa also got to get up on out of here. So thank you so much for tuning in. We will look forward to seeing some of you or most of you or all of you or none of you later tonight for our CMLL review. But until then, from us here at NXT Losos and the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you later for more reviews, but until then, and peace.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.